Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Uh, we are here today to discuss our next book club book. We are very late with this, but life has happened, and unfortunately, we had to, postpone a little bit. But here we are. We are going to be discussing Camp Zero by Michelle Minsterling, and yeah, before we get into this, let me know if you can hear me and see me well. I want to also say that I am a little bit nervous right now because I haven't hosted the live, whether sprints or discussion, in a long time for me, in like maybe 2 months. So, well, 1.5. So it kind of feels like I haven't done this in a while. So, hope it's all good. But yeah, welcome. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, just so just to be sure. And we'll hop into discussing this book. I'm really curious to see what you think about it, how you felt about it. I finished it about 20 minutes ago, so my head is going crazy. Like I don't know. So I want to see, or like I want to know all your theories and everything. But first, of course, we'll start a little bit non-spoilery, just a little introduction, and then as usual we'll jump into spoilers probably pretty quickly because that's just more enjoyable overall. So how are you? Hello, Jess. Welcome. I hope I remember things. Yeah, I mean, again, my bad for having this so late. Well, let's adjust this a little bit. Maybe there we go. My bad for you know not being able to do this on time. So yeah, I understand if you read it for a long time ago, then you might not remember everything, but I'm sure you still had some feelings that you remember. I hope. Hello, Larissa. Welcome. Hello, Ewald. Finished yesterday. Already forgot most of the names. All right. Yeah, I mean, there were not that many names, I feel like. But I'll help you out. I finished it 20 minutes ago and I read like yesterday when I started reading it, I was at like page 90. So I think I was exactly at 96 yesterday before I started reading. So I read all of this since yesterday. It's been intense, but I made it. But I'll help you out with the names if we need. I hope so. The only thing we will judge today is the book. Don't worry. Thank you. Just jumping in here for a little support on my way to bed. Hope you're all good. Thank you so much, Josephine. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Stress reading is never good for my anxiety, so we'll see how this goes. But I got myself my calming tea, so I hope I'll be fine. But yeah, all good. And thank you for stopping by, and hope you enjoy if you stay for a little bit, or hope you have a nice and restful sleep if you go to sleep. Not your fault, my memory issue. Yeah, maybe it's both. Maybe it's both. I'm in the same boat, Jess. Okay, all right. You got this. Thank you. Yes. So, Camp Zero. This was booked for what, March and April. It is now June, but it's fine. This is, what is it? It's a climate fiction, definitely, I would say. It is a speculative fiction, science fiction, um, not necessarily a thriller, but there are some elements that potentially could be thriller identified. But I wouldn't call it a thriller, even though there were some action in the end that kind of made it all like into this ending. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Does it have a sequel? I don't think so. I don't think it has a sequel. But I was what do I say? Like I listened to it on audiobook. Well, I also like listened to it and read it physically at the same time. I have lots of tabs, and these are things, and these are also not all of the tabs, because at some point I was also reading on my Kindle, so there are some highlights on my Kindle that I haven't managed to put in the book yet. So I will do that another time. But I annotated all of the things. I also have a tabs that perfectly match the color of the font, but that's whole another, not important. But I tapped a lot of things because I felt like, okay, this is important to the story. This is important to the story. I underlined lots of beautiful sentences, the way it was phrased, the way it was building up. I just really enjoyed the way it was written, to be honest. Um, the audiobook was fine. I didn't have anything against it, or like it wasn't anything amazing, but it was good. I enjoyed it. And definitely important. Yeah, the matching tabs, right? Yeah. I was very happy when I found that I have actually matching tabs, or like matching color. But yeah, there felt like, or like I felt like there was a lot to annotate, and then I don't have any tab this bit after this. I don't have any tab. This is page 261. So last 30 pages, I don't have any tab, but I kind of felt like from this point on, everything would have to be tapped. I felt like it was going down, things were happening, and yeah, I just feel like that would be the part to reread, because all of it was great. Now, do I feel like it was a 5 star? No, but I did annotate a lot, which I rarely do with fiction books. So that says something, right? But what the book is about is we follow three different characters, could you say. We have three different point of view. We have Rose, who is a young woman uh, coming to this camp and providing some services to the clients. We can imagine what those services are. Without, I'm still going without spoilers. Then we have a guy called Grant, who works or who is hired as a teacher for workers near the place where Rose is employed. And then we have a group of scientists, point of view, somewhere. It's called White Alice, and we find out why it's called White Alice, but um, it kind of follows entire group of scientists. And what happens, how to describe what happens in this book without spoilers? Anybody knows? I would say, what would I say? Well, we basically follow Rose learning about the intentions of these camps, or of this camp where they are staying. uh, that's why she was sent to this place to find out what the plan is and how it's progressing. And so they learn a lot about the area and about the materials and history of the place. um, and yeah, she kind of digs into it, and she makes some friends. I don't know what more to say. And then we have Grant, who is guy, the teacher for these workers, but the workers don't respect him. And um, who, yeah, he's running away from his family. At one point, we learned what happened, and that is such a conflicting part. I was reading it with my mouth wide open, so that was definitely horrible. But I was conflicted. We can get into it a little bit later when we talk about spoilers. But he yeah, basically runs away from his family, is trying to new life in the north, at this camp to be a teacher, to kind of get away from his name because his father is famous and powerful. So he's trying to get away from that. Hopefully, in this place, nobody knows who his father is. Um, and so we follow him kind of like navigating this place with these workers and what's happening. And then we have the group of scientists who are trying to map the area where they are, trying to analyze the global warming, or if there is global warming and how much, and all of these scientific things. In this place, they are completely isolated from the world. They are only the group of women in this place. They have their own greenhouse and everything, and they take care of themselves pretty much. Um, it doesn't sound that interesting if I describe it like that, I would say. But to me, it was very fascinating to read. And there are lots of things to dissect, I would say. Now, disadvantage of many making so many tabs is I can't really go to my favorite tab and be like, okay, this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to point out, because it's so much that I just can't do it all. But yeah, it's um, it's a very interesting book. It's very interesting book. Hello, Alex. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Um, I remember White Alice, and there was a Judith. Yeah. Okay. So there was a Judith. Judith was the madam of ladies group where Rose was staying. So the group that was the woman group that was providing services to these clients. Um, she was the madam, but she's not the main character, even though she is very crucial character to the entire story, which we'll learn why later on. So again, I would say spoilers, but she absolutely is crucial. White Alice the same. Um, I do agree Rose is our main character, but I feel like she's completely unimportant in the story. Um, Only through her do we learn about the things and about what's happening, but she doesn't do much, I would say. I still loved the way it was written, but like the point of her character was kind of lost on me. And I felt like that about a lot of the things. Like the book was trying, in my opinion, the book was trying to do too much. There were so many things put together. We've got politics, we've got feminism, we've got violence, climate change, power, greed, all of it we were trying to tackle. And I feel like it just kind of got lost. Like there were all of these great things that could have happened and that could have been focused on, that is just kind of got lost in the plethora of everything, in my opinion. And I often felt like it, like, wow, this is, it has a great potential and this storyline is so good, but then we kind of just like breezed past it. It's just like, okay, I made my point, I wrote this down, but I don't have time to dig into it. We keep going, kind of thing. So on top of it, a legacy, and yeah, I don't. It was just so much, too much in my opinion, because then we couldn't properly dive into um, the things to make the book really stand out, in my opinion, to really be emotional, because it was just too much. I'm so angry with the dude. Yes, with Grant, I absolutely. I agree. I understand why. Yeah, I forgot his name, but I remember hearing him most. Grant, or which one? Foreman? Grant was the main guy that we read from his point of view. Um, he did something awful as well, but then there were other men. So which one do you mean? Hating, ugh, typing on my phone. Okay, remember hating him the most. Okay. I remember Judith, White Alice, Rose, the barber, Rich Boy, Major, and Mayor. Yeah, it was spelled Meyer. And the Good Boys. The Good Boys. I like that. Yeah, There was also Willow, who was crucial to the story, and then yeah, some of the characters at White Alice were quite important as well. I think this was a debut, yeah. I do not know. Could be. I'm not sure if it was a debut. Camp Zero, her first novel, was an international bestseller and a Read with Jenna book club pick. Yeah, it was her debut. Ah, and the other girl, I think her name was Willow. Yes. Willow, yes, I only remembered. Spoiler. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thanks for summing them up, Ewald. Yeah, yeah, I definitely needed a recap. Yes. Then we had few other blooms, the girls with Rose. So we had Judith was madam to the group of the girls. They called them blooms, and the girls were Rose, Willow, which were the two most standing out of the all of them. Fleur, Iris. I actually marked that because there was a description of all of them. Uh, Jasmine, Violet. Yeah, that's them. Iris, Jasmine, Violet, Fleur, Rose, and Willow. But we worked, or like we had most of Rose, Willow, and well, the Madame Judith, uh, kind of. And then we had the group of the workers. There was Mayor, who was the boss of the entire thing. We had the barber. We had Grant, and then again, a whole bunch of other guys that were not as important. Um, and then we had the White Alice. There was Cell, and then the rest of them we knew by name, by only by their profession. So it was cartographer, biologist, um, programmer, biologist, and just science, like their science professions. That's how we knew them. We didn't know their names otherwise. And that is interesting that that was the only point of view that was told from the first person point of view, yet we never found out who that person was that was talking to us. That I found interesting. Um, so Jasmine, yes, there was Jasmine. She didn't. She was not big part of the story, but yes. White Alice reminded me of Annihilation. I cannot say that. Annihilation with the titles. Okay, yeah, I never read that. Annihilation. How do you say this? Sorry, I need to. Um, pronouns. Sorry, now totally not important, but pronouns and I feel like such a hard word for me.
Annihilation.
Annihilation. Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Yes. There you go. I never read that, so I don't know, but that's interesting. In other words, the author came up with so many characters that they could only come up with descriptions. I don't think that's why, to be honest. I think there was a very specific reason why they were called blooms or by the flower names or why they did not have any names like that, because again, that would like spoilers, so I don't want to go too much into it, but it would be damaging to the story, to the experience of the reader, if we knew everybody's names, proper names, kind of. I think that's why. But the Jeff Van Dimmer book, just call it that. Okay, yeah, that one. That one. I think it was symbolic too with White Alice because yeah, spoilers. Yeah, exactly. exactly. Like it had to be. And to be honest, to me, I suspected like there is a reason why we don't have any names. And it was not like obvious, but pretty early on I was like, huh, that's um that's a choice that is definitely going to have consequences. So yeah, definitely. The characters lacked a bit of depth for me. We just knew what we needed to know. Yes, definitely. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. We only got the background. We got most background to Rose, but I felt like it was such a. I don't want to say stereotypical, but it was so stereotypical. Um, and now, of course, the author herself is half Asian. So who am I to say? But this is like so common, or like I read it multiple times. Half Asian, half American woman who is raised by her mother and knows zero words of their tongue of their mother, like their mother tongue, the original one. And now maybe that probably that is the cultural thing. For some reason, the Asian mothers don't teach their daughters the Asian language, whatever that might be, Korean, Chinese, wherever you're from. But it just feels weird to me. Like in Europe, that's not the case. I know so many multi linguistic couples, and they always teach children both languages of both parents. So to me, that just feels like so weird and so frustrating every time these people. This is fiction, of course, but then I read it also in a nonfiction before. Um, these people complaining about, uh, oh, I don't, I'm losing connection to my origin country, and I don't speak the language, and it just feels so like old. And again, like nothing wrong with writing that character, but I just feel like why is every half Asian, half American character described like that, or why is that always such a big point? Like anyway, that's such a tangent, but I find that not annoying, but strange, and found that in multiple books. So probably based on reality, but so weird. Yeah, I don't think I care about any of them. Rose a little maybe. Um, I was very curious about Willow. I cared about Rose, I could say, but it was hard with not really knowing, not really having the grasp on characters. Um, yeah, so it's that in that way it was quite tricky to enjoy the book because the characters were just uh, plot points, which didn't bother me as much in R.F. Kuang books. That's clearly, to me, an author who doesn't know how to write characters. She has brilliant stories, but doesn't know how to write characters. And this feels like a little bit to that. Like the characters need a lot more work, but I don't think it's as bad as R.F. Kuang, for me anyway. I am very much character driven, or like I enjoy character driven books. So that's a big deal for me. And I definitely agree. So yeah, it's annoying. My mother never taught me or let my dad teach me any of my mother tongues to be better at Dutch. Uh, yeah, I don't understand why. I don't understand why. As I'm saying, like I don't know anybody. I know many couples that are like multilingualistic, many, and they all speak different languages to the child. Like the child is growing up speaking different languages with the parents. So I'm just surprised. And like I understand maybe back in the day, it wasn't maybe as common or as, how to say, it was maybe a little bit more restricted, a little bit more uncommon to be like a couple like that. But we are reading a book that is in the future. So I don't know. I would hope that mothers know better by now, or by then in the future. I think it's a bigger thing here. Either you're fluent or no words. Um, what do you mean? Like in the book, or you mean in the US? Wait, now I'm confused. Or in Asia? It is an old school thing. She was born in colonial Suriname, so on her part, I get it. Yeah, like exactly. It was in the past. I'm saying it was in the past. This book was written. What were they? 2000. I even tapped the year. It was 2049 or something. They were. I tapped that where we were, when we were. They said it at some point. Um, Maybe I have it on the Kindle. It's probably on my Kindle. But definitely, I remember year 2049. So, Korean mother in today's age, I really hope she would teach her child Korean. But again, it's probably quite cultural thing as well. Um, but yeah, I think I just was triggered, as my friend would say, because in another book, nonfiction, I got really upset with the character, the person. It was a memoir with the person, because she was saying that, yeah, my mother never taught me the language, and I was losing the only connection to the country, and there was no way for me to learn. I'm like, excuse me, what are you, Korean? You're telling me you can't learn Korean anywhere in the world? Come on, girl. So that's and I think that bothered me so much, because she was trying to be so emotional, because I'm losing my connection, I don't speak the language, I can't talk to my grandparents. And I was like, you can learn language, right? And that just pissed me off, if you can see that. So I think that's why I was here, like, so annoyed from it, because, like, you too. It's, yeah. Anyway, I had a friend whose dad was from Italy, and he didn't teach her Italian at all. Sometimes it's that mindset of, we are American. Maybe. Is it American thing? Yeah. Could be. Again, could be American thing. Um, not tip, Again, not modern in Europe. I wouldn't think so at all. But yes. Yeah, and I was writing the future on the basis of the past, present, so not thinking forward. Yeah, so I would say that was wrong, in my opinion. I mean, in the US, some people are proud of where their family came from, and then the rest of the world tells us, you're not Italian, you're American, and nothing else. So I kind of get it. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, just because you teach your child Korean or whatever Italian doesn't mean they will not learn American or English. You know, kids learn very, very fast. My sister has moved to Austria, and her kids are fluent in German within 1 year. They don't speak German at home, and now they are even teaching my sister German, because now they are better in German than my sister, who's been studying it for like 15 years. So I just, again, I know it's a cultural thing, it's something, but it just bothers me. It just bothers me. But that's probably, yeah, for sure, that is my modern European mindset. But yeah, moving on. Should we go into spoilers? I'm gonna put on the spoiler ticker, so if anybody is here who hasn't read the book or doesn't want to get spoiled uh, for the book, this would be your time to, click away, because we're going into spoilers. And yeah, here is your space to leave. Thank you very much for joining this far. I mean, it's been half an hour. Oh my gosh, we are chatting a lot. Um, I think I'm passionate about this language thing, but that's fine. Um, yeah, we're going into spoilers now. So thank you for being here if you're leaving now, and maybe come back later when you read the book and want to know more. But yeah, otherwise, I'll see you another time. But the rest of us who read the book and want to discuss, or haven't read but you don't really want to read it and still want to know what happened in the book, let's chat spoilers. Sorry, my throat is really dry. I need to drink a lot. So, what are some spoilers we want to talk about? Um, anything specific? Should I go through Copile maybe, and we can start there? We'll maybe deviate at some point, and we'll see where it takes us. But maybe we can start with Copile. So first is C, which stands for characters, that we kind of covered. You don't have to tell me what your rating is out of 10. That, you know, doesn't. I mean, you can, of course, share if you want to. But just to have a little guide to begin with, we did talk about the characters. We said they lacked depth and very forgettable. The character work in the book was not that great. Are there any spoilery parts that we haven't covered yet when it comes to the characters? The thing I most remember from the book is the barber popsicle. Oh my gosh. You mean where he popped up from the ice? Yeah, that was terrifying. That's not the thing I think I'll remember the most. I think I'll remember the most the first time they go to the Dominion Lake from White Alice. What they do there, I was shocked. And then I'll probably remember very vividly when they finally showed what they trained Annie for. I wonder if that's some kind of metaphor for something with the name of Annie. But that was brutal. I did not expect it, and that was absolutely disgusting. And I was thinking, not every, why do we have a feminist book? So I felt like it was so well done when it came to the feminism part. And then we have them do that. I'm like, why? Why do we do this to our strong women characters? I do not understand. It reminded me of The Power by Naomi Alderman Klein Naomi Alderman, and I did not enjoy that one because of the same reason. What they do to strong women and what would happen if women got power. um Anyway, uh, moving on. They were also all pretty dumb. Yeah, you could say that. You could definitely say that. The naivety of Grant, I was so annoyed with his chapters, like, how stupid can you be? Yes, I know. Um, Grant felt very much out of place, I thought. It was clear he was not gonna fit in. He was so out of place there. The character didn't sit right in what was happening in the story to me. I don't know why. And then when he was describing what he did, and he like what he did to Jane, right, his girlfriend, um, I was horrified. But I was that's one thing that definitely lacked from the book. I felt like, and from potentially like giving us the chance to connect with Grant, is that he was mad at his parents. Not a, or maybe there was one sentence saying that he shouldn't have left her, but he was not angry at himself. Like, he was mad at his parents, and there was no arc where he would be like, yes, I'm mad at my parents, and then with time I realize I'm actually mad at myself for doing this. I should have expected that from my parents. You know, this kind of like connection that was not there at all. And I was just like, how horrible are you? So he was something. He was a piece of art. The second one is the good boys getting their boy treats. Which one is that? Good boys? What good boys getting their boy treats? As in the clients getting late? Is that what you're talking about? I'm confused. And finally, shitty boss getting left in the forest. Oh yeah, that was nice. That was a little underwhelming, but pretty, justified. I would say that was good. I like sort of slowly realizing maybe the White Alice timeline was different. Um, I suspected from the beginning that White Alice was different time. At first, I thought even Rose and Grant were at different times, but then they kind of connected, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're at the same time. But then White Alice, like I was sure one of those were different time, so I was not surprised at that at all, or like it wasn't necessarily like realization. I was just like, I knew it. um, so to me, that was not like any big twist. I was like, I thought that was quite obvious the way it was built up, the story. But yeah, it was interesting. I kind of immediately thought it was set in their past. Yeah, I think it was detectable. Rich boy never really getting what the world was really like and never learning. Yep, yeah, that sums it up. I'm still figuring out why he was in the story to begin with. Could have easily done it without him. Thinking the same about Rose. Rose was there probably to see the other story of the White Alice, like in the other place and what they were doing, and right, learning about the entire camp. But what did Grant do? What did he do? What was he good for? Anybody? What was Grant good for? Mm, did he kind of trigger? I mean, I kind of see why he was in the story. He kind of triggered the entire chain of events with them learning more about how it's basically sponsored by his father, everything. So he's just the puppet again. Again, that was kind of like showing us how you can't get away from your legacy, or men can't, or don't want to for some reason. Was it? Uh, was he there to get it rolling with the barber explaining about the digging and it's all mush, and that all kind of was kind of like a seed that, or like a snowball that kept rolling further on, and we learned more about what the camp actually was. um, so I think it was just kind of like a side trigger for things, but there's definitely different ways this could have been done. So yeah, it was the character work was not that great. Grant didn't seem to learn anything or grow at all. Like, if you're going to make him awful, have a point at least. Yes, definitely. The whole Jane thing was ridiculous. If it was someone I met like 5 minutes prior to an opportunity to escape, I would have gone back for them. I don't see myself as heroic or selfless in any way. Yeah, yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. Like how, I don't know, definitely a rich spoiled boy who just suddenly got scared for his butt and just was like, yeah, they're gonna save Jane too. We need to come back for Jane. They need to come back for Jane. And then I don't know. It was like, surely you're not gonna leave her. And then be angry at the parents for not sending another chopper. That was ridiculous. How he also, another thing, I don't know, like the physics behind this. Like, physics is not my exactly weak side. You know, school physics, high school physics is okay for me. When it was so windy, he could barely stand. he could barely see the helicopter. How could the helicopter fly in that weather? I'm just wondering. Is it possible? Like, or is it extremely dangerous? Like, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I reasonably or like logically would think that that is not good weather for a helicopter and it would not work. Now, will you go at the risk of potentially crashing to try to save your son? Maybe. Was it their way of showing him they loved him? I don't know. But would it physically be possible? I do not know. But yeah, that was crazy. I think he's talking about the dogs. About the dogs. There was something. Maybe I missed that. Not the dogs and what they did to the client. Yeah, the dogs were horrible. And even I would have been like, wow, I need to save that other living human. Hang on. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, we don't have time. Like, what do you mean we don't have time? You flew all the way here for me and you don't have time to wait here 2 minutes until I go grab this person. Seriously. How dumb. Why Alice? We're gonna have Rich Boy be the maid for Willow. Willow, I'ma leave now. Pretty much. Pretty much. But they got a new bloom, no? Didn't they get the bloom? One from the girls? I think. Wait, there were 6 of them. No, all of them went south at the end. So they got a boy, but they didn't get a girl, right? Or did I miss something? Did some girl come up with them? Because Willow did start, but then she was said that she has to go to the floating city. Maybe then she would come back. But yeah, I do remember realizing who Willow was way before it was revealed, which just felt annoying. Like, once it's obvious, just say it. Yeah, pretty much. Um, at some point, I thought Willow was Sal. I don't know if like why I thought that. Obviously, Sal was way older. But yeah, then Sal was Judith. Yeah, it was very interesting. I think in this way. Just, but I didn't see Judith Twist coming. It makes sense, but I didn't see it coming. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Uh, I did. I was not quite sure like the time difference between the things. So I kind of thought maybe Willow was Sal because Willow was so brutal. But then when we found out that Willow was Aurora, then it had to be Judith. Judith had to be Sal. Like, but yeah, it was Judith. Like, clearly um, was from them as well, or not clearly, but I think I kind of picked up on it quite early on. But yeah, it was not obvious to me either. It was just like I could sense it, but not quite. Or who she was. I don't remember if I knew. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. But yeah, that was interesting. That was quite interesting. I like that, but I did not like Cell's behavior, to be honest. Like how brutal she was. But yeah, characters we could give a 5. I'm gonna give characters 5. 4. I think that will be 4. Um, Next we have atmosphere. If anybody has any opinions on the atmosphere of the book, I thought the atmosphere was pretty good in White Alice. Overall, I thought the atmosphere was pretty good actually because I never felt out of place wherever they were. The only place I thought was a little strange was the floating city, at least to begin with. And then when described it as the 4 circles, then it was a little bit like, gotcha. But before, when it was like the floating city or the loop or like what was happening, but that was the only part that was quite like confusing for me. But the camp and um, the camp and the White Alice was Very good for me. Like I really like that. Now I'm remembering, I actually don't know what the ending was. Like, how did it end? I know that Rose and Willow would go to kill Damien, but what will happen with the camp? Does it mean the camp would not be built? Like the project would die with Damien? Can we say? Is that the ending that we got? I think so. That's how I understand it anyway. Because I'm like, okay, what happens with the camp? Will it be built? But they were kind of not directly, but kind of pointing at it that the camp was not a good thing because stolen land. Um, these white Alice ladies at the same time as killing men around on a spree, like insane, insane. On one side, I really enjoyed it, and on the other side, there were so many things that I just didn't like about it. Like I'm so conflicted, but I really enjoyed reading it. To be honest, like I really did. Um, White Alice chapters were really good. I felt cold reading those. Yes, I agree. I agree. White Alice chapters were the best, for sure. I don't know if the floating city made sense to me. Um, they were not that well explained. I don't think. Um, it was what 25 years in the future, at least. So there is some science behind it, how they built it, but I don't think it was explained enough to get the full picture of how it worked. I think it was some kind of like a closed globe where they were protected from the weather, but uh, yeah, it was a prosperous city outside of Boston on the ocean, kind of. But like how it worked, no idea. It was just floating on what? No idea. I don't know. It was, yeah, it was weird. And why did they put all their hope in Willow as the future of White Alice? Then just let her leave, like no problem. Yeah, I know. It's so weird. And like why did they have only one? Why didn't they continue that? Why didn't they, before they murdered all these men, why didn't they try to get impregnated by them to kind of spread it? So because if you have only Willow getting babies, the babies can't really make babies together because that would not be good biologically. So why not have multiple babies from different women and different men so then they can go together? I How did they plan to repopulate? I don't know. Um, honestly, it was weird. It was weird. There's quite a few things that didn't make sense, and yet I enjoyed it. What's happening? This is gonna be one of those books where I'm like, huh? I enjoyed it, but it was bad. Kind of. Not exactly. I don't think it was bad. It was just too ambitious and not quite making it. So, but I don't know. I have very conflicting feelings about it. Yeah, White Alice was a nice break from all men being the absolute worst all the time. Yes. I could picture the floating city somewhat, but it was because of Stargate Atlantis, so my brain just filled in the blanks. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I did not have that, so that's nice. I think just like with the increased intensity of storms and hurricanes, why are we putting cities over the ocean as a safe haven? Just don't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I guess, but at the same time, if it is protected from the hurricanes, they were protected from it in the floating city, and they did not flood because they were floating. Maybe that's the point, that they would survive any kind of flooding and let's say raising ocean levels. I don't know. I'm just thinking. It's not like I have it thought through, but first idea that comes to mind. White Alice was also so nicely removed from the ultra capitalistic world. Yeah, yeah, it was. Well, kind of. They were also very much under a threat of being executed, but that's a whole another story we're not gonna focus on, I guess. That's kind of what the whole book felt like. Here we have a problem, and we stated the problem. We said our opinion on it, but we're not going to focus on it anymore. Moving on to the next thing. That's kind of what it felt like. Um, so I was mesmerized because it brought up so many amazing points and so many potentially like things that could happen or that could improve, that could affect the story. And then we just moved on. It was a lot like that to me. All the good and bad of the book ultimately gave me more of a meh feeling about it. Yes. Yeah, pretty much sums it up. Yes. But atmosphere, I'm gonna give honestly like 7.5. I don't think I can give it 8, but 7. You know what? 7.5? 7.5. I think it was pretty good. The atmosphere was alright. If we move on to the next one, we have writing. And this is, if we disregard, what are we supposed to do with writing? Because I would feel like writing was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. But what are we supposed to talk about here? Did you enjoy the writing style? Was the prose to your liking or unique? Was it hard to follow, not very readable? How was the dialogue to narration ratio? Did it flow very easily and felt beautiful but effortless? At the same time, would you be keen on picking up another book from this author, even if it's a different genre? I have to say, all of these questions, I'm like, yes, yes, I enjoyed it. I would pick another book from this author if I know she learned from this one. That's kind of rude. I feel like it's kind of rude to say, but it, like you say, it. Jess, you mentioned that it's her debut novel, and I don't want to say that you can tell because obviously I didn't know, and so how do I know? But I feel like there is a lot of space for improvement. And since it was her first book, there is hope. And I would hope that she would get better. And I have to say, I enjoyed this one a lot more than, I don't know, it just came to my mind like as a comparison was the Blue Beautiful World that we read extra last year. I enjoyed this one a lot more. Like that one had really interesting ideas and I loved the way it was like the story. But I was like, I don't want to read another book by this author. Like it's too confusing. While this, I feel like if the author improves with the ambitions for her novels and with the character work, it it could be really like a good book for me at least. It like I really enjoyed the writing, to be honest. Um so I don't know. I feel so conflicted because there's so many things like when you guys said like, oh, this was so weird, this didn't make sense. I'm like, yeah, I agree, and yet I enjoyed it. So I'm so confused. For me, the genres were a bit confusing because at first it was really climate fiction, then heavy romance, and then action thriller. True, that is true. Yeah, yeah. Again, that would require some work. Like I think if it was weaved in a little bit more natural, like if you put it like this, I agree. I don't think I necessarily picked up on it like these three separate genres. But if you say it like this, I see it and I agree. And if in the next book it would be more weaved in together, more naturally flow better, and like kind of overlap with each other a bit more, I think it could work. But like this, I get it that it was confusing and just like weird, like what's happening now. So I get it. I get it. The romance was also ridiculous. I don't even understand how they became friends, never mind anything else. Yeah, yeah. I think it was because, or one reason was that Willow was friends with Barber. So it felt kind of like a little bit more trustworthy. But yeah, yeah. Definitely felt a little bit like it just came out of the blue. Out of 10, I would give the writing a solid 6.5. Good for a debut and interesting things, but a bit cluttered. And of course, the characters were very meh. Yes. I love the Blue Beautiful World. I know. I'm sorry. I have the first two in the series and another by her. I know, and I'm happy for you. I remember you loved it, but I just could not deal with it for some reason. Like I enjoyed certain parts of it, but I just could not. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't my book. Meh is definitely the word for this book, Ewald. I agree. For me too, I gave it 3 stars. I appreciate what it was trying to do, but it didn't come quite together. Would have been better to me if it was a real thriller. Yeah, I see that. I can see that if it was like a real thriller with some climate fiction thrown in, or something like that, for sure. I can see it. Yeah, I read another book by this author. Good ideas. Yeah, me too, with 3 stars. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I have not decided yet. I feel like what else did I give 3 stars? Natural History of Dragons. I gave 3 stars. Would this be better or worse or the same? I don't know. But writing, I would say, like if we talk only the writing, I would say like 8. It's not the most beautiful writing I've ever read, but I really really enjoyed it. We don't need to continue with the rest of the categories, but uh, yeah, I don't know what I will rate it. I think I also gave it 3. Fair, fair. Bio was just my kind. Blue Beautiful World was just my kind of weird sci-fi. Yeah, I think yeah, was not my kind of sci-fi. Also, the spying part. What was up with that? It was so shallow. Why didn't we get more? It feels to me there is a sequel coming. Yeah, definitely. I felt like that throughout the book, but especially in the end, it felt like, well, there could be a sequel, but also I would definitely be okay if this itself was split into 2 books and then like developed more, of course. But yeah, it was uh, it was a lot. It was a lot. There was a lot happening. There was a lot of little things thrown in there that didn't uh, not sum up, but didn't come up to anything or didn't really matter at the end of the day. It felt like lots of just small opinions here and there that we just didn't have time to focus on. There are lots of things that it was just like, yeah, flowing from one genre to the next one to the next one, trying to be fun and like dynamic, ended up being confusing potentially. Yeah, there's a lot to improve about this book. But at the same time, I really, really enjoyed reading it. So oh gosh, I don't know. I probably will have to sit on this a little bit and go through Copile properly and then see. I feel like it would be about 3.5, probably not 4, but the writing is really shooting it up, like how much I enjoyed it. So 3.75, let's say. It's not quite 4, but for me, definitely more than 3. Um, they might do a sequel going after the Damian that mixes the Omen with the Son of Batman. Okay. I don't know what any of those things are, but yeah, I think that would be part of it. Yeah. And then maybe seeing more of the South. And not only the South as Boston, but the actual South. So, yeah. But there were so many like beautiful sentences here. Like, look how much I tapped. Yeah, I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed it. And there are so many things I was like, this is so good to remember. This is so important for the story. This thing here, I don't know. It was just great. I really really enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, I would say average rating 3 stars from us. So not a total fail. We've had worse books. I would say we've had worse. We've had also better, but hopefully next one will be better. The next book we are reading I'm terrified, so intimidated, is Braiding Sweetgrass: Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This was recommended by Natalie. She already read it. She, I think, gave it 5 stars, if I remember correctly. Um, it is a big book. There is a lot of text on every page, and it's quite chunky for this kind of book. How many pages do you have, my girl? I mean, if you go here, is there anything? Wait. Yeah. 386. 386 pages. That is a lot. Copyright 2013. How many chapters are there? Whoopsie daisy, I just meant it. There's lots of chapters. Planting sweetgrass, tending sweetgrass, picking sweetgrass, braiding sweetgrass, and burning sweetgrass. It has kind of similar structure to the overstory. This is our next book. It is very rare that you love a book more than us, right? I know. How happy am I? I'm happy about that. I already logged in a copy and have the audio. Do you mean in a library? Although I'm more excited for the book after that. Ooh, what do we have after that? I totally don't follow my own book club. Is it the Octavia E. Butler that we have next? Let me just double check that. Yes, Dawn by Octavia E. Butler. Yeah, I'm excited about that one as well. But I wanted to say about this one, nonfiction. But it is May and June book, which now we are already almost halfway through June, third way through June right now, and I haven't started. I cannot imagine having a live show in the beginning of July for this, just because the wedding is coming and there will be lots of wedding planning, and I just don't feel comfortable rushing through this book, not for the sake of, rushing through it, but just because it's a lot and it would probably stress me out a lot. And also, it would be rushing through the book, which I would like to avoid. So I was thinking if you guys would be way too mad, that's why I asked on Discord if you've started already or not yet, or what's happening. I was wondering to ask, or wanted to ask, if you would be way too mad if we would postpone this one to another time. So not to postpone all the books, so we would still have Octavia E. Butler for July and August, but we would squeeze this one in some other month in between. If that would be too much to ask, because it is now, I have way too much at work again. I think I will probably, well, I will not work a lot of overtime, but I might have to do some. On top of it, planning wedding, that is now as we are closer to the wedding. I'm sorry I talk so much about the wedding, but it's just so much of my life right now. It kind of feels like it's turning out to be almost like half-time job, planning the wedding. Then is the wedding, and then we go on vacation. So I don't really feel like I can really sign up to read this chunk of a book. Natalie, it took Natalie like I don't know how many weeks to read this, and she loved it. So I don't really feel like I want to rush through this one in the following 2 weeks just so we can tick it off. I would definitely prefer so we can do it later in the year. I'm so excited to get back, and I have to say this, and I am like really honest here. This is not just saying it. I'm so excited. It sounds wrong. I'm so excited to get back from vacation. Like, of course, I'm excited to go on vacation and everything that's happening, but also I feel right now so much like I just want to make some YouTube content. I want to go back to filming and vlogging and everything, and I know I'll be only able to do that from August going forward. So I'm kind of like can't wait for August because I'm so excited. So I want to promise to you that I'll definitely do more of that, and then we would be also able to enjoy this a little bit more. Now I know if you already booked it in a library, that could a little bit ruin your plans, but maybe it's possible to change the reservation to later date or something like that. I'm gonna ask that also on Discord, but I just was kind of waiting for what the what the poll would be. The poll has 1 hour left, but so far nobody said that they are currently reading it, so I don't think anybody has started this yet. So that's why I feel like I can ask if we can do it later in the year. And I'm thinking I will again ask in a poll what month would work. It would not be a month like we have. Let's just say instead of May and June, let's just say we have June. So we have August, we have Dawn by Octavia E. Butler, we have October, Burning Earth, and December, Once There Were Wolves. So we could squeeze this one in for September or November, I feel like. So there are two options, really. um, Squeeze it somewhere there. What do you think about that? Not a problem for me. Thank you. That sounds promising. I just need to not read the book too early again. So I'm fine with whatever as long as it's planned. Yeah, I apologize for that. I very much apologize. Um, I will do my absolute best for it not to happen again. But I don't plan to have wedding and go on honeymoon that often in my life. In fact, only once. So fine by me. My mood reader self makes last minute decisions when I will read them. Okay. Good, good. So I will also ask that on Discord. Hopefully, the rest of the people will be okay with that. But then we would try to schedule this one for later in the year. I know it might overlap with Dennis's readathon, or in September with Aurelium, which maybe not ideal book for Aurelium. But we'll see. We'll vote on it. I would vote November, but you guys are in charge. So I'm gonna ask that in Discord. Thank you for understanding. I really apologize for like really not being good at YouTubing last 1.5 month for sure, and even before that I was really doing only live shows since the beginning of the year. But I am really really excited for August, when I like right now I feel like I just want to start doing things, but at the moment it's just not possible for me. um so yeah, don't start this book yet. We will postpone it. You are first to know. Well, after me. No, you're first to know because I had to ask. um is there anything else about the book, about Camp Zero, that you would like to say? Also, we had the Factfulness book planned that was supposed to happen in May, I believe. We are supposed to read Factfulness. You noticed that also didn't happen. So that we could also postpone to like September. Now, you can see, the ones of you who have heard about it, that I am not sure about the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, if we're gonna read it later in the year, even though it's completely different kind of book. So we could still do that. I'm still open to it. But just saying that maybe we'll have to re-evaluate. But anyway, Factfulness will also postpone to a different month. Um, and yeah, I apologize for being busy, but I'll be back. I'll be back, and it's not because I don't want to do YouTube or anything. It was just prioritizing all different things for a while there, and then the hockey championship. Then I got sick. Then wedding planning. It's just been a lot, and work on top of all of it as well. So yeah, I don't know if there is. I don't think I have anything else about Camp Zero. I enjoyed it. Thank you for reading it with me. Thank you for joining the discussion. I appreciate it so much. And basically, next book we'll be reading. I don't have it with me. It's there. I can see it. It's over there. So the next book we'll be reading, instead of instead of this one in June, which is now, we'll be reading Dawn by Octavia E. Butler. And I have great time with Octavia E. Butler. So I'm really, really excited about that. It is also a trilogy, I believe. So if you love it, there is a potential for read along, continuing the series if you love it. Not a huge fan of that series. Really? I bet you love it. Oh, do you mean Octavia E. Butler, Dawn, or do you mean Darker Shade of Magic? Which one do you mean now? But yeah, I mean, we don't have always opposing opinions. Often, though, but not always. But yeah. No, I meant the Schwab one. Yeah. Yeah. I have the entire trilogy. At some point, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna love him. I'm gonna love him. So I bought the entire trilogy. I don't do that anymore. I don't buy the entire series before I read the first book, but I did that with this one. So I gotta read it. And no idea if I love it. I never read the Schwab before. So we'll see. Dark Shade of Magic is also not my series. I tried many times. Oh, really? But I thought you said that you would try again if you did the read along. Didn't you? I vaguely remember that you were like, yeah, I would join. But maybe it wasn't you. I thought it was you. I need to ask again on Discord. I think I only asked in some sprints at some point. Yes, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Very much looking forward to Dawn and hoping to love it. Yes. Me too. Me too. Maybe, but not hopeful. that doesn't sound good, but it's fine. We could try, and then maybe I won't love it either. Who knows? Lila is insufferable to me. Good to know. Good to know. I don't want any expectations. I want to enjoy it. Don't give me any ideas who I'm supposed to like or not. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. And all the popular series are not kind to the characters I actually like, it seems. Yeah, that tends to be the case for emotional purposes. They gotta do it. They gotta do it that way. Gotta do it that way. I like Kel and Alucard. Okay, you all read it to some degree. Interesting. It's still waiting for me, staring at me. One day. One day. I was planning later in like the second half of the year, but now it seems like we'll have a book club book every month for the rest of the year. So we'll see if we can put another more books on top of it, but maybe. I think you're supposed to like all of them. I don't know. All of the characters, maybe. Yeah. All right. Should we wrap it up, or are we now talking about the darker shade of magic? Darker shade of magic, yes. Not my fave Alucard though. Okay. But you said you like him. You like Kel and Alucard, but not your fave Alucard. All right. But you liked him anyway, or her, them, it. I don't know. Yes. I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for being here with me today discussing the book. I did enjoy it. I have to say, I did. I did. It does not really live up to the blurb, not the blurbs, the quotes by the people, but otherwise, I had a good time. And yeah, Helsing and Castlevania have better Alucards. All right. No idea what any of it is. But yes, thank you very much for joining. I will post about braiding sweetgrass on Discord probably today. And now I need to go wind down because it's been a lot. I was reading a lot today. I even left work early just to. And I woke up early. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning to read for half an hour before work, and then I left work actually 2 hours early to manage to read everything before the live show, and I finished the book 20 minutes before the live show. So all of that was a good call, but now I need to rest. So I gotta go cool down and unwind. But thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed it. But a first for Alucard not being a vampire. Ah, Dracula just used the name to make. Okay. I mean, it still doesn't really make sense, but okay. I kind of get it better now. Thank you for discussion, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Hope you have a great rest of the day or rest of the evening. And yeah, I'll chat to you on Discord. So thank you and bye.